I've known Angie Witt for a long time. She was the former head volleyball coach at Liberty. She is actually working at Liberty as the associate athletic director for club sports. She'll tell you more about that. She'll also tell you more about why every school should have an athletic trainer, the biggest misperceptions that people have when they hear the term athletic trainer, and so much more. Angie Witt is full of great information, and she helped give an education on athletic training. I'm talking to Angie Witt. Tell what your role is.
So I am the associate AD for sports medicine for club sports here at Liberty. Yeah.
What does that mean?
So we have 42 club sports that use our sports medicine services, and basically direct. I have 6 athletic trainers underneath of me, and basically 6 of them who travel with our 42 teams. Not all teams get obviously club sports. We don't all get supervised and athletic training on the road. But we also, we do run a clinic for all 42 sports. So we basically take care of all their medical needs, refer them to our doctors, refer them to our PT, our chiropractors, and so on and so forth.
Tell me a club sport that gets kind of the full treatment to where they get that road.
So men's D1 hockey, women's D1 hockey, wrestling, lacrosse. Those are probably the big 4. Mm-hmm. There's other that get mostly their road games covered. Like pretty much all our hockey teams get travel coverage because of, number one, not every place we go to has athletic trainers. And so we want to make sure that our kids are taken care of. But also, number 2, like hockey is just a really high incident sport. So We're going to make sure that our kids are taken care of on the road. So give me an example of a club sport that just kind of like can come in and see you guys, if that makes sense. Any of our shooting sports, okay. Archery, some of the swim gets partial coverage, so they'll get coverage for nationals, but not necessarily for just a one-day meet. The other sports that may not get full coverage would be figure and synchro skating. Okay. We're going to travel someone to nationals, but we wouldn't travel them on a regular basis. So for a sport that doesn't get, we'll say full coverage, so to speak, to use an insurance term, do they have common injuries that you're going to, like the archers per se? I mean, is it more like shoulder injuries? We don't really see them very much at all. Like occasionally a shoulder issue, occasionally a neck issue, like just from having their neck turned all the time. But like disc golf, we don't see much of them unless they've turned their ankle in a hole on the course, right? Or, twist their knee the wrong way. Occasionally we'll see them, but not very much. Those would be like the more common ones as far as like if we was occasionally in a concussion that may not happen in their sport, but maybe happened while they were, packing up something and, got hit. We've had a crew or a rowing team. Our rowing team will, we see them more for their maintenance stuff, like low back, shoulder stuff. But we also, they've been unloading their boats and hit themselves in the head with a boat and end up with a concussion, just random stuff like that. Ultimate Frisbee, same thing. On campus, they don't get a whole lot of injuries, but they can get some random, dislocated shoulders or ankle sprains or even a concussion at times. Even if somebody was coming to the Liberty to do a club sport and let's say they dropped a box on their foot when they were moving, is that something that people would come to you or are they going to a regular PhD? So they can go to student health here on campus, or they can come to us and we would send them to student health. But say they got a concussion, but they're one of our athletes, they're going to see student health first. But they're also gonna do all their follow up through us. What's the difference in you guys and I don't know if the term is varsity athletic trainer? I would say that I guess the hours of availability, and the varsity athletic trainer is going to cover every practice, every weight room, and they're traveling with everything, right? For us, we're more of a clinic based and not really covering every practice, but covering all the games, covering all home events. When did you know you wanted to go into athletic training? As an 8th grader in high school. I didn't have an athletic trainer in high school. I went to a small Christian school. But I always loved sports and always loved medicine. And I felt like that was the best way to combine the two. So really early on, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a doctor and spend all my life in school. But I also wanted to be around medicine and around, I was an athlete. And so I just really loved being in the action. I didn't want to be a PT because it was all clinic-based, right? And so I just love having a part in the action.
Give the pitch real quick. Why should all high schools have athletic trainers?
Oh, absolutely. I tell you, for safety, anything can happen on any given day. You have, you take a hit to the chest and your heart can stop. You take, a blow to the head and you can get a concussion that can cause, permanent damage. You got heat exhaustion that, especially during like football season and baseball season, toward those end of the seasons where the temperatures get in their body gets so high that they need to be treated right away. And so liability issues, safety. If you have a kid at a high school, I would fight for an athletic trainer 100% because we're the eyes that coaches are not. Coaches are there to coach. Coaches, yes, can be trained in first aid and CPR, but they're there to coach, and their eyes are not always on what is happening on the field as far as, injuries are concerned. And so they're just another set of eyes that are really, their goal is to protect the athlete.
Now, that's where I knew you from, is coaching. How different is being a coach and athletic trainer? Was that kind of at the same time, or how'd that work?
So I kind of took a couple years off of athletic training to coach and kind of just, and I did, but I kept my certification, right? And I think coaching, obviously you're dealing with the X's and O's, and you're the the ones who are having to yell and scream, and sometimes offer some obviously advice when it comes to coaching and those kind of things. I think for as an athletic trainer, yes, sometimes I have to show some tough love, but also I get the opportunity to meet the athletes where they're at. Sometimes on their worst day, I get to be a part of the encouragement, a part of the love that they need there during that time, and not necessarily, and I love them for who they are, not because of how they perform on the field, right?
When did you start learning how to tape ankles? Because I think if most people look at an athletic trainer, they would say, oh, they're the people there to tape ankles.
Yeah, it's way more than that. It's way more than taping ankles. Taping ankles is the easiest skill and simple and for an athletic trainer, but it's about protection. It's about preventing injuries. Seeing the risk. It's about evaluating those injuries, knowing the anatomy and knowing the parts of the body that are most susceptible to injuries, and knowing your sport, even because there's certain sports that have different injuries altogether. Then it's knowing how to rehab an injury with the help of PTs, of course, but also knowing those simple injuries that we can just kind of an ankle sprain, get back out on the field as soon as possible. But it's also knowing emergency medicine, and I've had everything from a neck fracture to dislocated bones, and we had an incident here where if we'd have moved the kid a quarter of an inch, he would have been paralyzed or even no longer with us, but God's hands were with us, and as we protected him from further injury. And so I want someone, if it were my kid on the field, I want someone who's trained to take care of them physically, but also to be that emotional support as well. And I feel like we are the, like I said, we're the person who's there on their worst day, and hopefully we're there on their best day when they can get to return to play.
How scary was it what happened to Barry Fink? Because I know it was over on the football
field. Oh, yeah. It's very interesting, as athletic trainers, we're watching the game the whole time, and we're maybe not seeing what's coming right at us, or maybe we're doing something else and dealing with an athlete while the play is coming at us and being on the sideline. So, our eyes have to be open. And, Barry was just obviously, got ran over by an athlete. And, again, he was doing his job. And so, that's a risk we take, obviously. Not all sports have the athletic trainers, right there on the sideline. Football is probably the most common, at least during hockey. I have a wall protecting me, but doesn't mean pucks aren't flying. I remember a puck flying at my head one time, and the goalie caught it in the nick of time, right? So there are definitely dangers with the job, but man, the rewards of what we do is pretty cool to just see an athlete again, come back from an injury and make the game-winning play, or just have a great game altogether, or really just be out on the field and enjoy what they're doing, right? And so that's the fun part.
I'm in high school, and I want to get involved in athletic training. Give me your advice.
Shadow as many people as you can, your athletic trainer at the high school, or, reach out to the local athletic trainers at the universities and start shadowing, during the summer, especially during camps and during those things when you have a little bit of extra time. Start, just doing some research on, what field you want to be in. There's so many different fields in athletic training now. There's college, university, high school. And, of course, once you get to college, you'll be able to shadow some of those people during your education process. But yeah, just start learning about the body and things that God has created us with a very unique body, and not everyone's exactly the same, but God has put the same things in us to be athletes and to have that unique skill. And so yeah, just learn more about the body, shadow as many people, get into your undergrad, like an exercise science or something, a therapeutic exercise, pre-PT, whatever that is. And of course, you're going to need at this time, you're going to need an entry level, you're going to need a master's degree in order to do this job. So plan ahead for that, because it is a 5 to 6 year program to get an athletic training degree now.
Do I need any type of, when I'm a high schooler, I can't get access to all that stuff maybe. Do I need some type of EMT background?
You don't need an EMT background, but it doesn't hurt. We have a couple athletic trainers here who are also EMTs, and it definitely helps just getting some of that base knowledge for that. But it's definitely an extra credential that doesn't hurt to have. Hands-on experience and learning those things firsthand is really cool. In fact, one of my person I've had employed for me at the longest, she came to me originally as an EMT and an athletic training student, and just wanted to shadow and work some games.
I think a lot of people hear athletic trainer and they get confused with something.
Yeah.
So biggest pet peeve from that point when people hear,
we're not personal trainers. We're not someone who's going to help you lose weight. Although we do have a background in nutrition, and we also have a nutritionist on staff, right? So we have a little bit of everything, when it comes to rehab and nutrition and things like that. But we're not someone who's just going to help you in the weight room. We are someone who is going to take you from injury or prevention of injury and take you to getting back on the court, the whether it's through doctors and x-rays and rehab and all that stuff. But we're the one, I like to describe it as the athletic trainer is the hub of sports medicine, and we direct them to wherever they need to go to get the help they need, and then see them all the way through the process, right, of injury to return to play. We are skilled in return to play for concussions, return to play for a lot of other things. And so, we're not the one in the weight room telling you to get stronger, faster. We've got strength and conditioning coaches for that, and they do a really good job, right? But we're the ones who are going to help protect your athletes from going back into the game too soon, right? But also protect them from themselves and, making sure that they play 100% healthy and safe.